Hey, everybody. Hey, welcome to the channel. I'm Lee Godbold with JRA. We have got today Caleb McCabe from Junk Masters, Minnesota. Thanks for joining us, Caleb.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, Lee.
So, Caleb is the operations manager. I guess that is your title, correct?
I'm technically the general manager, but we're small enough to where I handle the day-to-day operations. So I can the general manager that does daily operations also.
Awesome. Sounds good. That you're the guy that lets Mitch get out there and run the excavator and knock stuff over and have a good
That's right.
time. So,
Yes, sir.
So Chris is the general manager for Junk Masters Minnesota. Junk Masters is in Minneapolis, the greater Minneapolis area, based out of Eden Prairie. Is that right?
Yep.
And they have about seven trucks. How many trucks you guys running now?
We got eight trucks.
We got 8 trucks, and I think they're just north of 2 million or so a year in revenue in that neighborhood.
Yeah, I think we're about two and a half, 2.6. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the largest independently owned junk removal companies in the country at this point. There's obviously a ton of them that do 2.5 and well north of 2.5, but a lot of them are franchises. To get a independent one to 2.5 million, you can probably count them on two hands. So I would say there's 10 to maybe as many as 20 in the country that are at that amount. So you guys have done a great job over the last handful of years getting it built up. And I was excited because Caleb agreed to come on the show and talk to us about what he does and a bit about Junk Masters. And I think there's a lot of great valuable information that we can have. So once again, thanks for coming on board and join us on the show. And just kind of, if you would, lead off and just let us know a little bit about your background, how you wound up in the junk removal business, and that sort of deal.
Sure. I have worked in retail ever since high school and liked, dealing with customers, having face-to-face interactions. And one of my paths led me down, getting on with one of our now competitors, 1-800-GOT-JUNK, and just fell in love with the industry. Every day was different. It was really satisfying to clean up an area and get that instant gratification. What really did it for me was taking a simple task like hauling things away and, sometimes making a very impactful, helping someone change their life or their situation and getting, those warm and fuzzy feelings from the people who are hugging you and, just thanking you for helping them out that would have taken them a very long time to do. It's always fun to show off picking up heavy things too, but eventually I went into management once I was at the trucks for 1-800-GOT-JUNK, went up into management, eventually parted ways, and then went around to a couple other junk companies and was recruited by Mitch basically. And I've been with him since January of 2022 and haven't looked back.
That's awesome. Yeah, I remember when Sam came up and visited with Mitch, and he was talking about, should I bring on an ops guy? And he said, yeah, I know this guy that I think would do great with it. And that was you. And he was able to work a deal out with you. And I guess that's about 3 years now you've been with him, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
So
been a good run.
when you were with Got Junk, were there things, what kind of things did you learn from them that you maybe apply to, the business today?
Well, they're like the biggest, franchise, junk removal franchise, and they're doing some things correctly. They have kind of the how to estimate correctly, how to have a good customer interaction, how to, stack a truck properly. Really just the basics of it. It's like, getting into the food industry, working at McDonald's. But yeah, they have a good training program. They have lots of videos and stuff like that. But it's just a foot in the door. They can crank out a bunch of people with anybody off the street, no experience. You can go in there, you can learn how to junk, the basics of it, and then go from there.
Yeah, do you have any trucks they're running in your area? 20 or 25, you'd guess, or?
Yeah, I think right about, yeah, that is an accurate estimate. 20 to 30. Yeah.
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 That's a
They
great.
they like absolve. They two of them kind of merged together and they became just one big one. There used to be a bunch of multiple franchises in the Twin Cities, and then they all merged together.
Okay.
So
Very, very good. So, what are some of the things that you guys have found to be extremely uh, in what are just a couple of the things that you at Junk Masters do that you think has allowed you guys to get to the size that you are running those 8 trucks and the $2.5 million plus?
I would say having gosh, there's not real one thing. When I came on with Mitch, I think he had 5 trucks going, and he had established a good team and a good client base that would call us back for house cleanouts, and he had come up with a reputation of being somebody who could do more difficult removals, along with all the simple ones, but then also donating a lot of furniture. Like he's promoted and emphasized his partnership with a local place called Bridging here, and we've worked with them ever since. And I would say that company, or I'm sorry, that nonprofit, and all of his repeat business that he gets has really set the stage for where we are now. Like we could not be here without the people who use us constantly. So um, besides having repeat business, just having quality products, like having the right tools to get the job done. um, I've worked at, again, a few different junk companies where we have not had the appropriate tools, or we've had, really cheap versions of them. And Junk Masters has had the best tools I've seen on a junk truck. If we don't have it, we'll go get it.
Yeah.
If we need a piece of equipment, we'll go rent it. Um, so tools are a very big thing for us.
Talk to me a little bit about the some of the maybe unique tools that you've used that you guys have access to or that you own that you did not have at some of the other junk removal companies that you worked at.
Laughable things like not having a nice sawzall on every truck. We've had people who have had similar experiences where there was like one sawzall per 5 trucks, and if you didn't have a hot tub on your schedule, you didn't get it.
Yeah.
But we use it for all sorts of different things. Having nice ratchet sets or impact drivers for disassembling exercise equipment is invaluable. And I'd never had any of those at any other junk company. It was always a socket and a ratchet. That was it.
Yeah.
So stuff like that is extremely helpful.
What we tend to find is a lot of those companies initially had that stuff, and then over time they got lost and never replaced. As the general manager, a lot of that responsibility to make sure that that stuff is there falls on your shoulders. How are you able to make sure that those Junk Masters trucks are stocked all the time? Because you have so many people coming in and going out and doing these jobs.
So we use a software called Whip Around that is primarily for our truck maintenance and shop inventory. But on that, you're able to create and curate checklists for that we do our DOT stuff for. But you can also put in, lists of tools or supplies that we have on our trucks. So every morning after we have our morning meeting, teams will go through, they'll check their trucks, tire pressure, make sure they have all of the tools that they need. And if something is missing, they'll write on there, like, I'm missing a half inch socket from truck 5, and then it'll notify me. I'll try to, go look for it. Usually it's something where it's just not put back where it should be. But if it's completely gone, then we go replace it and just keep everything stocked.
So you guys do tool checks at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day.
For sure, always in the beginning of the day. Sometimes at the end of the day, it gets missed, but DOT checklists and tool checklists in the mornings for sure.
Very good. Now, I know there's another tool and that Mitch used to always talk about a lot, other than his excavator, uh, was the hot tub sleds, because obviously we do a lot of spa removals or hot tub removals.
Mhm.
And you guys are probably one of the few companies. There are some out there that are doing it, but you're probably one of the few companies that use the hot tub sled. Is that the exact name of the one you guys are using, or didn't you find a different one that might be called something different, or is it the hot tub sled that you're using?
think it's I think it's just the hot tub sled. But it is yeah, I know he also has when he or it's a spa sled.
Spa
Um,
sled. That's right.
but yeah, he when I was when we were communicating when I wasn't working for him, he had said he had these things, and I was like, that thing sounds, a waste of money. And then when I got here and I saw how valuable it was for being what it is, because it's a giant rolled up piece of plastic.
Yep.
Um, it helps us so we can, can move hot tubs in one piece, not cutting them up,
Yep.
and usually do a removal within 30 minutes, depending on where it's at. And then it also, we can load it up with other things that are not just hot tubs. Like if we're cleaning out somebody's backyard and they have a bunch of bricks behind the shed, and one of the team members can, add that on. It's like, are you still using those? No, don't worry. I can get these out of here really fast. And they bring that thing back, load it all up, and then slide it to their truck. And instead of, wheelbarrows or, armfuls of brick, they can put it all on there, slide it right over. It's really slick.
Wow. And you guys have is that's not something that goes out on every truck. You only put that in there when you have a job like that on the schedule. Is that right?
I think he started with, one just in the shop. And then as he saw how valuable it was and how much time it saved, he put one on every truck.
Great. So check out the spa sled for anybody that is looking to do that stuff. That's one thing I will tell you about Junk Masters and Caleb and Mitch. And Mitch is the owner of Junk Masters. They really keep kind of research and keep up to speed on tools and different ways that they can do things to make things easier. So instead of just using brute strength and force, they figure out ways and things they can utilize just to make the job faster and easier. And in the case of a spa sled, a heck of a lot less messy. If you cut up one of those hot tubs, you always have the insulation flying around and the little bits and pieces. It's almost impossible to sweep it up. By the time you sweep it up and clean up and the leftover stuff, they've taken an entire hot tub and they've taken it off and it's gone and they're leaving. So just a great tool, and you guys, I think, were the first people that I know of that utilized it. I know there's a handful of them out there, but definitely kind of on the cutting edge of the junk removal space, if there's such a thing. So, tell me a little bit about like your day to day, like as a general manager of Junk Masters. What's your typical day like?
Sure. So I usually get in 30 to 60 minutes before my teams do. Um, I come up with, I look at our schedule and come up with a plan for at least the first half of the day where teams are going to go. I get teams paired up and assigned to a truck. And then if I don't have a topic for our morning meeting, I'll come up with one of those before everybody gets in. And then teams roll in about 7 o'clock. We go over that morning meeting topic, whether it's role playing or safety issues or, um, what's the fastest way to disassemble something, pool table, shed, what have you. And then get them assigned to their truck and team and then get them out the door. I always try to plan at least 1 to 2 jobs, ahead of time. So when they go out to their first one, I'll know where they're going to go for their next 1 to 2 appointments after that, and then I can come back to my desk, do some computer work, reply to emails, answer any customer inquiries that's been going on, work on general management stuff if we have any campaigns going, or if we're looking at reaching out to any new clientele, that type of thing. Every day is a little different. So usually about the 10 to 11 o'clock mark is when things come up and we the plan that I had, in the first part of the day now has changed. Somebody maybe got stuck on a very large job, or they're at an apartment that's going to take them forever to do. So curating that to however they need, figuring out how we're going to make sure we get all of those jobs completed. That's always a constant thing. And your best laid plans in the junk removal world, as I'm sure everybody knows, you can have a plan for the whole day, and then one thing, pushes you back behind your schedule, and you have to change a bunch of things or move things around. So just being adaptable to what our day looks like. Something I found that always helps me out is just having, empty trucks or empty bins for us to use on the ready, so that if we do run into one of those, unforeseen add-on jobs that's, 4 or 5 trucks, when the customer asks, like, I know it's last minute, but can you do it? I can say, yes, we can. And I have everything here that we need. We're going to take care of you today. Instead of saying, like, we're going to have to come back to you tomorrow and help you out with everything, which sometimes happens, but having the empty truck space and logistics to get all those things there has helped us out a lot, where people are, flabbergasted that we were able to do a large job same day that they booked the appointment.
Yep.
So,
and you mentioned you had, I think you had eight trucks. Is that correct?
Yep. Yeah.
How many bins do you have?
So we have, it is 11 bins. One of our trucks has a fixed body on it, and then we have
that was when we had built that fixed body.
Yeah. Yep. I think it's.
It originally was sold to, it was originally sold to a guy in Chicago, and then he closed down and sold it off to y'all. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But 11 bins, 2 of them are some of the older ones, and we just use those for like holding appliances and metal, but the rest of them are in the field. So we can move those around, instead of, having, I don't have to have 11 trucks. I can have 8 trucks. That basically is, that many. The team can come back, drop a bin off that's been full, grab an empty one, and go off and, do a job right away, instead of having to take that truck, go empty it off at a recycling center, then go back to the customer. Makes it a lot faster.
Do you guys ever run like one person in a truck that just has kind of rotating bins around? Does that ever pop up, or do you pretty much always have a team of 2?
When I first came on, Junk Masters was, we didn't have the staff to facilitate that, but since then, we do have like a warehouse guy who also operates our heavy machinery, and he kind of bounces back and forth. If we don't have, a garage tear down, I'll put him on running trucks out to people, bringing them back, sorting through them. Mm-hmm. Support guy, especially in the peak season, is invaluable.
What kind of trucks are you guys running?
So we have probably 60% of them are Fuso Canter trucks, and then the rest of them are Isuzu MPRs and NRRs.
Gas or diesel?
They're all gas. So
yeah, very, very good. And then you've got, now are those switch and go trucks, or are they Hooklifts? What kind of setup is that?
they're all Hooklifts. I have been with another company that had the switch and go system, and it's fine for what it is. I think it might be a little less expensive than the Palfinger Hooklift systems.
Fair amount less, about 10 grand less. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but my goodness, the amount of problems that I experienced with those switch and go systems, they would get stuck. The cable that was on there, if it had any issues or didn't spool the right way, like could be very concerning. So when I came from the previous company over to here and saw that, it was, night and day. I would never go back to anything else except those Hooklift systems. They're expensive, but their maintenance is relatively low, especially compared to the switch and goes. And they're just much more reliable and a lot quicker, and you don't have to worry about, gravity as much helping your bin come down.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll just pick the whole thing up and put it on the back of your truck.
Do you drop the bins at job sites often?
It depends. If it's a small pickup, yeah, no, they usually don't. But if it's, a large clean out where they're going to be going up and downstairs and it's going to be a lot of small things, having that bin, dropped on ground level makes it so they're not taking things in up a ramp. They can just walk right into the bin, set the stuff down, and go. And then, especially with anything that is a heavy piece, piano, the hot tub, gun safes, anything that's super heavy. I mean, taking that thing up a ramp is treacherous, and everyone loves everybody loves the hook lift systems because they can put the bin on the ground, they can move the piano in there, it's done. We're all set.
Yeah. I think the two types of trucks to have in junk removal, and the debate is between the two, and it really comes down to price. Is you can go with the fixed body trucks, or you can go with the hook lifts. You're going to have about 20 grand more into a hook lift truck by the time you get a bin and all that kind of stuff. There are some advantages though, like you said, in terms of switching bins out and being able to drop them. So it's just a kind of a comparison, a cost to benefit analysis there. Obviously, you've got great looking trucks, super professional. You drop them, your guys love them. So you've definitely got an awesome operation going on. And I know, I know you guys take a lot of pride in your trucks.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Mitch was a tow truck driver for like 16 years. So he has a very high standard of how these trucks should be. And everybody really likes it because if you've worked at any other junk company, it's not the same thing that happens. Most of the time, junk trucks are just what they are. They're a mess outside, they're a mess inside. You don't want to be in there. So having clean trucks on the outside is good for marketing because our trucks look the best in the Twin Cities. But it also just helps the guys, feel better about rolling up to somebody's house and not having, things falling apart or a tarp that has a bunch of holes in it. All those things make us look really good.
Yeah, I know Mitch contracted out with a company to actually get a tarp, a custom made tarp that has a lot more ribs in it. It's reinforced and it's a lot stronger. And I know I had talked to him and have actually gotten in touch with that company on trying to kind of make that more available to everybody in the industry. It's been a little while since I spoke with Mitch on it. Are you guys still running, as far as you know, that same tarp, or are you not certain on it?
If they're the navy blue ones, yeah, we're still using those
I think the
ones.
navy blue. Did they say Junkmaster? Did he ever get Junkmasters actually printed on them? He was looking at doing that at one point.
Huh. He was going to. All the ones we have in stock now do not have that on there, but I'm sure if I reminded him about it, he would want to get it on there.
Yeah, those will
But
come in the same. Those will come in the same time that the boxers with Junkmasters on them come in as well. So Mitch is the ultimate brander. Everything he has Junkmasters on it, which is great. That's what you should do. He's a walking advertisement. It's funny you mentioned the tow truck stuff, and I think we have actually interviewed Mitch on here before. I know he spoke on a panel at JunkCon whenever we did that a few years ago. I don't know and I guess he's done a testimonial video of sorts, but I don't know if we've ever had him on the channel. But definitely need to get him on because, like you said, tow truck driver for 16 years, definitely came from a blue collar background, and he's built an amazing business. Just bought a beautiful house on 40 acres or whatever of land. So we'll look to get him on here pretty soon. You mentioned you had a warehouse guy, and he kind of helps you run trucks around and all too. Tell me a little bit about the recycling and donations you guys do. Is that a big part of your business?
It absolutely is. There's a video on our website of when he had just started out and he partnered with a local nonprofit called Bridging, over in Bloomington and in Roseville. And he is just saying, like, I really like their mission statement. They're providing hope for people who are down on their luck or don't have the things that make being a person, having a table to sit and eat dinner at and a couch to relax after you come home from work. Um, they provide people with furniture and at, again, no charge. Like they will get donations, have these uh, people come in and basically go with one of their volunteers there and like shop through their warehouses and say, if I could have that couch, that'd be great, and if I could have that bed, that'd be nice.
Mhm.
Um, so when Mitch started, I assumed that he was going to be getting junk stuff because
Yeah.
it's the junk removal world. But what he found was that people who needed to downsize and just needed to get rid of stuff. Maybe they were moving, maybe their family member moved to a smaller place and they needed to get rid of stuff. He found he was getting like really nice, really usable things. And he had a fork in the road where he could have sold the things and made some money off of it, I'm sure. Or he could donate it to this local nonprofit that he had worked with before. And he decided to go that path and gave them basically everything that he possibly could that was in good shape, things that they would accept.
Mhm.
And in return, this donation company in particular, they'll pick up things from your garage or your driveway, but they don't want to send their employees into your home to do the removal of it for whatever reason. So when someone says they'll call this nonprofit and they'll say, I have a bunch of really nice things that I'd like to give you. Can you come pick them up? But everything's inside. They'll say, unfortunately, we don't go into your house. Um, but don't worry, we have a company that will go into your home. They'll carefully remove all your stuff. And then we know they're going to bring us all of the things that you would have donated to us. They'll be that middleman for you. So they refer us a lot of business, and they're always warm referrals where, you know, this someone's calling this well-established nonprofit, and the nonprofit is saying you should use this company here. It's a local business, and they bring us the all the stuff that they pick up that we take. I mean, there's really price is the only thing that's really the sometimes doesn't work with people, but it's just such a warm referral where trusted person is saying use these guys. They call us, we take good care of them, we get them, we take their items over bridging, and everybody's happy.
Very nice. What about on the scrap side of things? Is that something that you guys are you scrap a lot?
We recycle like sheet metal, iron, all the regular things. We have in our warehouse in the back here, we have like bins for semi-precious stuff, computers, copper, brass, electrical cords, that type of stuff. The the depth of how far you can go for scrapping things, we have examined, and we don't go as crazy as some people do. Specifically for, I don't think that it is profitable for us at this time. Like paying someone an hourly rate to rip all these things apart, as long as they have the appropriate licensing and training for doing it. It just isn't something we're doing quite that far. But I mean, everything that is relatively easy, rims, metal, iron, copper, brass, cords, computers, all that stuff. Yes.
Do you guys have any type of like incentivization programs for your truck teams? I know some places they'll kind of like split the scrap metal income that comes through, or have some sort of like profit share type deal or something like that. Do you guys do anything like that, or is it kind of a straight up hourly plus tips? That's how we do it.
So we at both of the other franchise junk companies that I worked at, that was never something that they did. And in result of it, I think they missed out on a lot of opportunity for making more revenue off that.
Right.
And then when I came over to Junk Masters, he had done that, I think, ever since he started getting employees, and when it wasn't just him and his friend on the truck. Um, so on a quarterly basis, all the metal, batteries, copper, everything that we get a little bit of change for, he puts into a big pile of money. And
Mhm.
then he'll, yeah, he splits it. I think it's 60% goes back to the company and 40% to the guys.
Nice.
But but in our busy seasons, like that can be a decent chunk of change. And there's a handful of guys who say it in a joking manner, but they'll throw every little bit of scrap they possibly can in there, and
Yeah.
it's just every little bit helps
Right.
and cuts down on disposal costs, and gives a little bit back to the team. So that's what we do.
Definitely. So, truck team members, how many total employees do you have now?
Let me see. I wrote it down, but I can't remember. We have, including myself and Mitch, we got 20 people on the roster.
Okay. And are all of them full time?
No, I'd say, especially in our off season, probably six of those guys are part timers.
Okay. And about how long is the longest guy that you've had been with you?
Longest guy right now is 2.5 years. We had before that we had people here who had been on for 3+ years, but
Yep.
they ended up moving on to something more in their field of work. But
Thanks. How do you guys attract good people? Obviously, I mean, you've got over 1,500 5-star Google reviews. So the people you're getting are good. How are you able to find those people?
we use primarily Indeed for recruiting folks. We've done some guerrilla marketing where we have a QR code with some of our guys and a little graphic on there for people to apply. We put them up at colleges, gyms, any place where we think we could find get some get some audience there. So they could just they can just scan the thing, fill out an application online. But Indeed has been probably one of the biggest commercial ones where you can pay for it. But a lot of our people come from their friends. Like, we recently had one guy, Tyler, who started working here, and he liked it so much he got his brother in here, and so they've been doing great. But yeah, I mean, everybody has that one guy who's like, you'd probably be pretty good at this. Like, why don't you come give it a shot? And their friends are always like, I don't know, junk removal. It doesn't sound very fun. And then they get in here and they're like, this is great. This is one of the funnest jobs I've ever had.
How do you
So
think?
a lot of referrals from current employees.
Do you have a established like referral program if you refer somebody and we hire you, or just kind of happens organically?
We do. I make sure, especially in busy season, to let people know that we have a referral bonus that they get a decent chunk of change if they last. I think it's 3 months,
Okay.
which it's not a whole ton of time, but 3 months in the junk world can be a lot. Can be a lot
2 years is generally you're doing really good if the average employee stays for 2 years. I think with junk doctors, I mean, we've got some guys with us like 7 or 8 years at this point.
wow.
A few, we have a lot that have been with us 3 or 4, but for a long time, we looked at the average tenure of an employee and it was about 10 months. I think that was the first 3 or 4 years of operation we had. We got to be better operators. We got, we learned a lot. We weren't running people quite as ragged. We realized even if they said they wanted 60 hours a week, they can't maintain that. So we figured out how to limit that more, and I really just became better bosses, better managers, better leaders. And also part of that's just cycling through the short-term people to find the long-term. So a lot of that's just a numbers thing. Just the more people you hire, and
Absolutely.
well, the better chance you have at somebody that's going to stay with you and all. But some of our guys making pretty good money. I mean, for what it is, we've got guys that probably made between tips and pay 50 to 60 grand in that range on the truck team, and it's pretty low responsibility, pretty fun.
Yeah.
So they seem to be pretty happy.
I always, whenever I'm hiring people, I look for people who come from the restaurant industry if they have, some established stuff in the restaurant business. For some reason, those guys do really well here. I mean, I think it's because they're working in a fast-paced environment with a lot of multitasking going on, and there's stress that can be involved in there, while on top of all of that, providing good customer service to their customers. They do pretty good in here. So sometimes if I see that people who have moving experience, or if they've been in the restaurant industry, they usually do pretty well here.
Yeah, I agree. 100% agree. So again, everybody, I've got Caleb McCabe with Junk Masters Minnesota on. You can visit them online. Check their website out. Check them out. It's Junk Masters MN for Minnesota, junkmastersmn.com. The link is in the description if you guys want to check them out. All right, so kind of keep it on moving. We have got, let's see, we've kind of gone through several things here. Something was mentioned earlier around some of the stuff that you do on a day-to-day basis in terms of customer responses and communication and that sort of deal. What you guys are using Workies now, is that correct? That's your CRM?
Yes, we are.
And what things do you like about Workies, and how do you guys utilize it?
I compare a lot of the things that I do here to things that I've done in the past, and I've stayed here because I enjoy it. Along with Mitch being a cool guy, the software that we use, that Workies CRM, is drastically better than what I had used in the past. At Got Junk, we had their own proprietary junk stuff or junk software. At Junk Luggers, it was Vonago, and I've used Vonago with Junk Luggers, and then also You Move Me.
Yeah.
And the difference between the Vonago and Workies in this specific respect, night and day. Like, Workies is so much more user friendly. Their mobile app is just quick and responsive and doesn't shut down, doesn't black out. It's just very easy to use. And I've been here again 3 years, and I'm still finding out new things that can make my life easier with customizing workflow on, how people get a text message, how they get an email. It just is all around great. We use it. They have scheduling, payment, customer, notifications. We take photos, load up with photos in there. Yeah, even with logistics, just a fantastic app.
Very good. Yeah, it's been something we've been using a long time too, and plan on using for a long time more. Definitely a great tool to have in your chest within junk removal. On the phone side of things, are you taking calls yourself now?
I usually don't. We have a dedicated call center agent who we work with. We're the only company that he takes calls Monday through Friday, and he's been with us for a few years, and he does a fantastic job. He communicates with me on a daily basis on, like, can I sneak an appointment in here? How much would this cost? This customer is inquiring, and it's all in real time if I'm available for it. So he can ask me something, right now, and see if we can do a job, and I can tell him, and he'll schedule it and book it through. But yeah, fantastic. His name's Henry. He does a great job. If he is on the phone and he's busy and can't, someone calls, and it will then kick over to, we have an answering service that will handle the overflow from him, or off when on off hours when he's not working. So they'll handle a lot of that. But sometimes I still get calls depending on what number people are calling, and I can chat with them, no problem. But my call volume for incoming calls looking to book appointments is extremely low.
Okay. Would you consider yourself to be very, very good on kind of getting the job scheduled and closed on the phone?
I would say so. I don't have any numbers to back it up, but my usually my stats on Workies, because all of our dispatchers and people who book jobs all have statistics for, cancellation rate, conversion, how much revenue they produce. Mine's pretty up there, but it's usually from jobs who are calling or calling me specifically, like, hey, it's Dana, I need another clean out, and I'll book it that way. Um, but yeah, I mean, I've done a lot of customer service over the past 20 years, so I think I'm pretty good on the phones. Yeah.
Is there any advice you'd give to somebody that's new to taking junk removal phone calls to get those to get people to get on the schedule?
Availability is probably top of mind. You can immediately lose a call or lose a job if you say, I let me see where we're at. I can be out there next week. Would that work for you? And even if it's something that would be very difficult for you to maybe figure out, to get it done within 24 hours. I mean, same day is ideal, but having the ability to get out there within 24 hours or same day is probably the most paramount thing. For the whole reason is because there's so much competition, especially in the Twin Cities. I'm sure all the big markets, there's tons of competition. And if you say, yeah, I can't be out there until next week, well, it's the end of the month and I have to get my apartment cleaned out, so I'm going to call somebody else. Um, if you book the job and you get them out there, you would then have some incentive to figure out how you're going to get it done, versus like, well, I'll just book it for next week. That'll be safe. You might not be able to. They'll call somebody else because they need it done
Yeah.
quickly. Um, Junk removal is super impulsive sometimes. Or if someone's procrastinated on getting things moved out, like they wait until the very last second, they need it done
Yep.
today. So having the availability is important. Um, Besides that, I tell a lot of guys who might not, who are wondering how to be better inside somebody's home. As long as if you treat everybody you're talking to like your grandma, and you're respectful and polite and you speak clearly, that goes a long way.
It really does. It really does. Have you observed any changes in the junk removal business over the last year or two?
Uh, I maybe not over the last couple years. I've seen uh, more people trying to kind of skip the on-site visit and just send you a picture, of the stuff that they have, and get a quote that way. And we've tried to, stay up with that by there's a Google service, that allows, I can get it doesn't come to my specific work line, but it's an app that people can text in with pictures and whatnot. And then I can immediately take a look at it and, give them as best of an estimate as I can, right there. Like, even if sometimes I'm at home, and if I'm just watching TV and I get an inquiry there, like, I'll reply to them right away. And I usually find that it's like younger folks who are using that. So being able to have an avenue for someone to send in photos or communicate with somebody right away, has been very, very helpful. But when you do that, it's kind of, if they don't like the price that you just gave them, they're going to go try to find, the other 15 companies and see if they offer that same type of quick communication, where they can just text a picture and get a price for it. Um, so
Yeah, you lose control by doing those pictures, but
absolutely.
you definitely are seeing people that just kind of putting their foot down and all they want to do is send a picture over,
Yeah.
which
And
is tricky.
they're not necessarily our target market. I mean, somebody looking for a couch is really easy to chat with, and it's either you like our price or you don't. You
Right.
can have somebody else who is cheaper, maybe not licensed, and that you can have fun with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good. average job size, have you guys seen smaller jobs or more price sensitive customers in the last year or so? There's a lot of markets that have just kind of said and seen that people appear to be more price sensitive than what they were several years ago. Have you observed anything like that?
I would say so. Yeah, I think it's because there's a lot of, Joe and his truck people who advertise as being super cheap and they'll come haul this stuff away. People get in their mind that that's how much it should cost. And I mean, why would I spend, $800 for a full truck with you when I could, have this guy come out and he'll haul it all away for $300? Um, and my best way to combat that is you have to be able to tell them like why we charge what we charge. If they have no concept on like what we do with it, all they think is you're just going to put it on your truck and go dump it off somewhere. So if we can get in there and explain all the stuff that we do in addition to just putting it on our truck, and build that value, usually we'll be able to convert that client if that's something that they care about. The people who want the cheapest option to get it out of there, they are not our clientele. They're not going to go tell their friends about it. And if they do, they'll say, call these guys because they're super cheap. Well, I don't necessarily want those as my main target market. On the other hand, our average job size has increased. I think over since I've been here. And I was thinking about my previous junk companies, and yeah, I think our average job size at 1-800 Got Junk when I was there was like a quarter to a third of a load, maybe. And here it's like our average job size is about half a truck, which doesn't seem like a lot if you're not in the industry, but that's a pretty big jump.
What are you guys charging for half truckload?
Half truckload, $550 plus tax.
Yeah, so you're kind of on the high end of AJS because your disposal fees are not that high, correct? Like, what are they?
And 10-12%.
Yeah, and that's 8 to 12% is what we normally see. What do they charge you at the landfill per ton for
So it
transfer?
depends. I would say if, the landfill that we use primarily, if we have to take stuff to a landfill, is I think it's like 120 per ton for MSW.
See,
However, I just want to mention we primarily will use this waste to energy facility in Minneapolis that charges us much more than that, but we do it because it's a waste to energy plant. They're turning broken trash and furniture into renewable energy, as is landfill doesn't do anything with it.
yeah,
We still go to the landfill sometimes, but we try to leverage that waste to energy plant as much as possible.
that makes sense. Um, Very good. In terms of closing percentages, when your guys actually get on site, how often are they leaving with that job? What's your closing rate?
I am not 100% sure on what our closing rate is. Um,
You say it's above 90%.
if I was going to guess, I was thinking about 85, 90%. Wintertime is always kind of a little slow, and we see more price sensitive people come out during that period. I mean, I would say for sure in the summertime, we're at minimum 90% close rate.
Yeah. All right. And some of the big jobs, you guys have that great AJS. You know what the largest job is you've ever done?
Oh boy. I think we did one recently this year. And I would like to say it was a little under 200 grand.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many like above 100 grand plus jobs do you guys think you've done?
Since I've been here, not a whole ton. I think it's only been maybe half a dozen in that realm.
Yeah.
The ones where we have gotten substantially more of have been in the 30 to 50,000 range. And I mean the the large job that I just mentioned. I mean, I think that took 2 weeks to do, and it was 5 guys and the excavator out there.
Yeah.
But surprising, not that much time for as much stuff as it was.
No, for sure. For sure. All right. Well, what's the plans for Junk Masters for the coming years? You guys have any expansion plans or growth plans or?
We are would absolutely love to get a either a larger warehouse or another a different warehouse. Doesn't need to be as large as this one, but just in a more strategic location. That's going to happen this year. The commercial real estate market in this area is kind of crazy for our budget and what we have, but we're constantly looking online. Loop.net has been a really big one. Always keeping an eye out if we see a building that has a for sale sign, if they have doors that are large enough for our trucks, like writing it down, trying to follow up with that real estate agent.
It's amazing. Commercial real estate agents are not the easiest to get up with. It's really weird. It's like they don't really want to sell or rent a building.
Yeah.
A lot of times. So, and what were you mentioning on the expansion?
Oh, we'll probably be adding a few more trucks this year to it, but yeah. But besides that, I mean, increasing warehouse space or another location, and then getting more trucks and more guys.
Just kind of keep working the same thing that's been working so far and continue to grow.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of people, they get distracted by the shiny object syndrome, and you guys have done a great job on staying focused on the things that you do and do well. And obviously that market is there's so much potential there. So I don't think you even scratched the surface. I mean, at 2.5 million, there's probably potential to build that certainly to a $10 million plus business over the next 5 to 10 years. And I hope to kind of watch you guys continue to progress.
Absolutely. I always I have more respect for companies that kind of put that investment instead of buying all those shiny things. Investing back in the company, and that from Mitch and Junk Masters and some of my previous employers, like I see those companies thrive when they invest back into the company versus going out and really quickly buying all those nice things. So
a lot of wisdom there. All right, as we start to kind of wrap this up, you guys have over 1,500 Google reviews. How did you amass such a large number of reviews? Do you have a strategy that you do to get that number?
Well, I would say the cookie cutter explanation is if you have someone who is friendly and proficient with answering your questions on the phone, it starts there. They say the team is going to go do these things at your house. They're going to they're going to call you 30 minutes before they show up. They're going to give you a no obligation price. If you approve that price, they're going to haul everything away. They're going to sweep up afterwards. They're going to be careful in your home. They're going to wear boot covers. Mm-hmm. And if we nail all of those things, at the end of an appointment, it's very easy for customers to say, "Wow, you guys did a great job. How else can I say thank you? Even after I gave you this nice tip, I want to do something more." So we'll tell them you can go online and we can send you a link that you can fill out a review for us. When we do our role plays in the morning, simply asking, if a job goes really well, to just say like, "Hey, we're a local business. Reviews really help us grow. Would you mind if we send you a link for it? If that would be all right with you?" And 80% of the time they're like, "Absolutely. Like, send it over. Leave me some more business cards. Love that." Mitch recently did this in fall. We had got the idea of having these little cards here. I don't know if you'll be able to see that.
Yeah.
But it has just, did we do a good job for you today? If we do, we'd love a review from you. It has a spot where they can click on the back of it and you can write the team members' names on there, and they can go on Google or social media and say, Caleb and Lee did a great job. They helped me remove a really heavy treadmill out of my place in Plymouth, and it's been really nice.
That was
So
something we at JRA put together.
that was you?
Yeah, we started with junk
Thank
documents.
you.
We sent them out to several clients. So has it been working?
I would say
Guys
we're
use it.
getting
They like using it.
the guys sometimes forget to do it, but it's really noticeable when we talk about it in the morning. Like, hey, make sure you hand these out. Like, just write your name on the back of a dozen of them first thing when you're going out, and then just keep them in your pocket after you help Mr. Johnson with his stuff. Just and everything went well. Just give him that at the end. Explain what it's used for, and you can see when we talk about it in the mornings. Like, we'll get more reviews with Caleb and Lee came out and did an awesome job for me over here. And then if we don't talk about it, or if something else comes up and we miss it for a few days, then you'll see the drop. We'll still get good reviews, but it's not as specific with team members' names, what we were removing, that type of deal.
Have you created a competition with it? Like, one of the reasons that we put the team members' names on there was there's two reasons. One, obviously, we want to encourage the client to put the customer's name. And what we found is if the customer's name is actually in the review, that review seems more real and more impactful. So it's more likely that somebody's going to call. The other thing is we recommend people actually turn it into a competition with your team. So at the end of every week or end of every month, you add up whoever's name was mentioned the most, and they win a $50 or $100 gift card, depending on the time frame that you do. Have you guys tried any sort of competition with that?
Not one on that. I like that one a lot because it's more specific and like kind of a shorter time base. Mitch has a very lofty goal of hitting 2,000 reviews by March, which I think we're at 1650, 1675 right now. So it'll be it'll be a good goal if we can actually hit that. But
We do about 175 a month.
Yeah.
By March, or like by the end of March?
Into March, yeah.
It's about 175 a month will get you there.
So if we do that, there's a big chunk of gift cards for the guys at the end of the tunnel.
Nice.
So
Well, great. That'll be a major accomplishment. Well, Caleb, thank you so much for getting coming on. Is there any questions that I did not ask that I probably should have? Anything that you think people should know?
let me bring that up here.
I know when I start these things, I always send off a list of questions to people and let them know these are the kind of the ones that we are going to cover. And I guarantee, I don't guarantee we're going to do them all. And I tell them we'll add in others. And generally what happens is just a natural conversation lends itself to bringing in more questions. And you did a great job on answering some of those that popped up that weren't on that list. But many of them, it's funny, even though they're on their list, just through the natural flow of things, we tend to get to them. There's always something I generally miss, though. And so I always ask that question at the end, what should I have asked? Because sometimes you'll get some good nuggets out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that for the whole donating thing versus selling stuff, like everybody tells Mitch that he should start selling things, and he thinks that it's a missed opportunity. You should really do that, which maybe there are some things that we could go down that avenue, and maybe give back to, use some of the profits that we would get from that to, support a local nonprofit. But man, donating stuff, really, really good. Anybody out there who has thought about it and they're like, that's a waste of time, absolutely is not. Like, one, you guys feel really good when they go donate things to a nonprofit. And then that nonprofit, if they get a lot of traffic and people coming in there, you have a good experience with them on site, they will talk about your company, in general, and can be more rewarding than I think people take for granted. On top of that, with a lot of people being concerned about where their junk is going, that being a selling point of like, I'm not just going to take all your stuff and go throw it away. It might be cheaper if I do that, but I'm not going to. And using that as a selling point, very, very good. So donate, talk to people about how you're keeping stuff out of the landfill. It'll take you a long way.
Yeah, I think it's an excellent point. And thanks for bringing it up there. Well, Caleb, once again, thank you so much for coming on. Again, this is Caleb from Junkmasters, Minnesota. That's junkmastersmn.com. There'll be a link in the description. You can also see it on their big, beautiful, bright green bins that are parked behind them. That's a excellent backdrop, by the way. Great job. That's a lot of mattresses you have up there too. So
You do.
yeah, hopefully there's no creepy crawly bed bugs or anything on there.
Those don't come back. Nope.
Make sure they don't wind up in there. So again, guys, check out their website online. There's a lot to learn from them. And again, I'm Lee Godbold with JRA Digital, a dumpster rental and junk removal marketing and consulting company. You can check us out at junkra.com. Jumpmaster's been with us a very long time. We'd love to work with you and help you get to $2 million and then eventually $10 million, which is what they're on the path for as well. So thanks, Caleb. We'll see everybody next time. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel. We'll see everybody here soon.
Thanks, Lee. Thanks, Jerry.
Thanks, man.